Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Casper Energy Services. Casper Energy Services prides itself on a culture of success.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Tom Luzzi from Phoenix, Arizona joins us, and my favorite CFL historian. Tom, I'm a little pissed off. I'm really pissed off at I love the CFL. I'm not jumping on them and slapping them in the head. And some guys do that because they think it's a cool thing to do and they can vent. But I'm just annoyed at how they've gone about trying to solve this COVID situation and get money from the government. Now, I know trying to deal with the Trudeau government doesn't make sense on many levels, but it seems like they had a plan, then had another plan. I mean, I talked to Dave Dickinson today. He's still in the dark. No one knows. But they at least there's a little breakthrough with the money situation. Now they're dealing with health issues, correct?
Absolutely. Listen, I spoke with Leo Ezrins the other day, and we were talking about government funding. And they were hoping between $25 and $30 million. So they tapered down from the $150 million that they had asked for. But you know what? Here's the problem that the CFL has. They don't have a plan to put people in the bubble, unlike the NHL. And that costs money, Mike. And it's money that the CFL doesn't have. It's a big concern. When you go and you use your debit card and it says no money, you go, well, how can I protect these players if we don't have the funds to make it happen like the NHL? It's a serious problem.
So what is the latest have you heard? I heard that they're still trying to work out things with the health system. But is that enough? Is it going to be enough money, Tom, even if the government comes through? Or you've got all these teams and they're going to try and get a 6-game schedule in there.
Mike, the CFL is broke. Yep. The CFL is broke, period. So we've got individual owners like David Braley in Vancouver and the Flames Group in Calgary and Bob Young out in Hamilton and, the Toronto Sports Group out there. And then you've got your cities in Vancouver, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg and Edmonton, and they've got bucks. They've got successful community-run organizations.
Yep. So where does the money come from?
It's coming from the individual teams because head office is dead broke. I'm disappointed in Bell. I'm disappointed in Rogers. I'm disappointed in all of these corporate entities that support the CFL, and they're not coming to their rescue and helping them out. Many years ago, the NFL bailed out the CFL, and they gave them a loan, I think, for about $20 million. It may have been less. I'm just throwing a number out there, but they came to the league's rescue right after the CFL did their USA expansion failure.
Yes.
I think honestly, the issue comes back to the guy that's at the head of the ship, Randy Ambrosie. He's failed on many levels. Here's a guy that understands football. He's played football, but in the corporate world, it's been hell on this league.
I'm going to ask you another question, Tom.
Yeah.
This week or last week, The Rock and his group purchased the assets from the XFL for $15 million. Yes. Why in the hell did the CFL not have anybody with a clue that was taking place and get him involved in buying a franchise here? And that group, they've got deeper pockets than $15 million. And that is a proven commodity in the CFL. The Rock tried out here. To me, that would have made way more sense than buying the XFL stuff.
Yeah, which isn't a proven entity, right? And they're trying to run spring football.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Randy Ambrosie didn't know that the Montreal Alouettes were going broke until they filed for bankruptcy. There's no communication in this league. There's no communication out. They should have known that the whispers out there, you hear them, I hear them. Every media guy hears them. Why isn't the league listening to what's going on? Why they didn't approach The Rock and his group? $15 million. My God. Braley could have bought the XFL, for all the money that he's got. So, I think that there's a communication problem here. It's always been that way. I remember when Tom Wright was the commissioner back in the early 2000s. I remember Donald Crump. I remember Doug Mitchell. Communication is a big problem, and they don't understand marketing. They just think that, you know what, the fans are going to come out and support. They've lost generations of football fans, and we're at the point where we're at because they refuse to listen to outside people talking and bringing in all this information. They think they know it all, and that's why we've got the problem we got today.
Is it a Toronto attitude, a Toronto mentality somewhat?
You know what? About 22% of the Buffalo Bills season's ticket holders live in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you something, there's more people that go down to Buffalo than go to an Argonaut game sometimes. That's a serious problem. Most times, yes.
So
that's a problem.
So no matter what happens in the CFL, whether they go forward or not, it's time to revamp things, Tom. I mean, if it is as it is right now, to me, and there's a lot of purists out there that are holding on to days gone by, like this East versus West shit. We don't need that anymore. Let's get the ratio down to a respective number. They've got a chance to clean.
Bring it down to 5.
Yeah, 5 players, and let's clean it up. Let's start over. Take a year off. Get better. I mean, I love this league. We need this league. It's fun to watch. But it needs revamping. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Absolutely. Mike, I'm going to put on my glasses because that's when I focus in. Mike, I got to tell you something. They need to revamp. They need to reinvent the CFL with the good things that they have. It's the most exciting football out there. I watch, when you watch college football, they say, oh, that was a great game. Well, it's usually a blowout. But in the NFL, people love to watch and be entertained by the offensive stars. We've got that in the CFL because we have a wider field, we have a longer field, we have motion out of the backfield, and we have the linemen lining up a yard off the ball. Well, that makes for an entertaining game. Here's what in my opinion, this is what the CFL has to do. Number 1, drop the ratio down to 5 players. Now we're set on that. Bump up the salary cap to $6 million and have the administrative staff, it really should be unlimited. Really, because you got your coaches. Your coaches are going to be the backbone of the CFL, and they're going to help develop that talent. Sign the players to 3-year deals. Why? Because you don't want them one and done or 2 and they're gone. You need that stability. You need the stability in the community. I'll challenge you today. Name players numbers 6 through 10 on the Calgary Stampeders today. A lot of people can't do that. But damn it, I can tell you every rider that played back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, because these guys stuck around. But the new CFL that has morphed into this 1 and done, 2 and done, cut them and bring in somebody new, this is what's killing the fan base. They don't have that emotional tie to the player.
Well, they kind of did that back in the USFL days too, Tommy. Remember, I mean, Willard Reeves is a perfect example in Winnipeg, and I don't want to go back like we're the two old guys and the Muppets watching stuff on the stage. But, I mean, Cal Murphy and all those guys, they would just get rid of a guy like Willard Reeves and bring in somebody cheaper. And I think that was the mentality that's really eroded away a lot of the talent throughout the years. So you got to get, and I still love that NFL developmental league. I still want to see that.
I like it too. I think it's important. You know, I think as fan bases, as a fan, I just want to be entertained and I want my home team to win. But, you know, on a side note, Mike, when we talk about what's happening and what this league has morphed into, how would you like to be a player like Derek Dennis? Derek won the Outstanding Lineman back in 2017. The Stampeders cut him. He goes out to Saskatchewan. They sign him, or not cut him. They didn't re-sign him. He goes out to Saskatchewan. He makes a couple $100,000 a year. didn't live up to expectations. They cut him. They bring him back to Calgary. Now he's 30. He's going to be 32 years old. Guess what? He's done with football. This COVID season has ruined a lot of players' careers. Guys that thought that they could squeeze out 1 year or maybe an extra 2 are done.
Well,
and that's unfortunate.
Sometimes the American players, especially the offensive linemen, they outplay their value. They make more money than what, and their talents are greater than what they should make, right? So, right. I mean, they've outlasted. 32 years old as an offensive lineman, he should have 5 years left.
Well, he should, especially if he knows how to hold. And you know, you're
right.
But you're right, Mike. You know, you hit on a key point that if you're good, you eventually outprice yourself in this CFL league. Yeah. So you know what? Good for you. Pat on the back. You make yourself $200,000. But guess what? You're going to get cut the next year because there's a guy at $65,000 that's going to take your place.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. That's why that 3-year deal makes sense.
Yeah. Good job, Tommy. We'll talk soon, buddy.
You got it. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Geo's Men's in Calgary, providing Calgarians to look their best.